If you are looking to invest in Melbourne properties, this is the video for you. Singaporeans are one of the top 10 investors for real estate in Australia. 2021 and 2022, Singaporeans bought about 100 million worth in property, and just in the first half of this year, 2023, it has shot up to 200 million. For a small country compared to UK, Vietnam and Hong Kong, we invest quite a lot in Australia properties. So if you are considering Australia properties because you don't want to pay the 20% ABSD for a second property, this is the video for you. We will be looking at the Australia property market, focusing on Melbourne and what are the costs involved when investing in Australia properties. I'm Alicia, welcome to Atas Property Singapore. So why are Chinese buyers investing in Australia? To understand the Australia property market, we look at the median house pricing in the last 40 years. When negative gearing was removed, the prices became stagnant, and when it was reinstated in 1987, the prices went up, especially in Sydney. In 1990-1991, during the recession, property prices fell across the country. Melbourne was the worst affected capital city. Prices went down by more than 6%. However, overall, the long-term prices have been on an upward trend. In 1986 onwards, Sydney property prices started to break off from the rest of the city and increased significantly. As historian Godfrey Brainley stated, rarely in modern history have two big cities competed so strenuously, so evenly for as long as Melbourne and Sydney. In the late 70s, Melbourne was losing its perch as Australia's business centre. Of the top 100 companies, 52 were based in Sydney and 31 were in Melbourne. Many Melbourne companies in clothing and metal manufacturing were hit the hardest by the Whitlam's government's 25% tariff cut in 1973. Sydney increasingly became headquarters city for Australian media companies and attracted more foreign talents. During the mid-80s, the median house prices in Sydney experienced a rapid increase, resulting in significant widening of the price gap. In 2013 period, Melbourne prices have also started to break off and increase drastically as compared to other cities. Over the 30 years period, we have seen 6 distinct cycles of growth and an equal number of cycles of decline, including the current downswing, across the national index. Each of the upwards and downwards have been categorized by different environments and catalysts of change, such as taxation policies, monetary policies decision, economic shock, fiscal stimulus, and broader economic conditions. Whilst housing values move through cycles of growth as well as declines, the long-term trend is undeniably upwards. Nationally, dwelling values have increased 382% over the past 30 years, or in annual compounding terms risen by 5.4% on average since July 1992. Melbourne dwelling values are up by 459% over the past 30 years and have been up 5.9% per annum, the highest long-term growth rates of any capital city. The earliest decade, 1992 to 2002, recorded the strongest housing market conditions, with dwelling values up by 95% compared to 69% rise through both the middle decade and the most recent decade. The median price of apartment units as of July 2022 is 614,351. Compared to other cities in the past 25 years, it has seen the highest growth for both houses and units. House prices have gone up by 8.8% and unit prices have gone up by 6.6% yearly. The rivalry between Melbourne and Sydney extends to house prices, with Sydney historically having higher house values. The gap between the two cities widened during the pandemic, with Melbourne's median house value being 29.6% lower than Sydney in May 2023. With Sydney becoming more expensive, it's not uncommon for a Sydney-sider to hear that a friend, family member or colleague moves to Melbourne for significantly cheaper housing. Melbourneans, whether buying or renting, spend less on housing compared to Sydney-siders. The affordability of Melbourne's housing prices, coupled with its lower median rents of $543, makes it an attractive option for those seeking relief from Sydney's challenging housing market. Additionally, with a vacancy rate of only 0.8%, Melbourne offers a sense of stability in its rental market. Now let's look at the population growth for these two capitals. As of 2022, the population of Greater Melbourne is 5,031,000, while Sydney is 5,297,000. You can see that the population gap is narrowing as compared to the early 2000s. In fact, as of April 2023, according to 9 News, the newly recasted Melbourne has a total of about 5.8 million residents, almost 19,000 more people than Sydney. This is because Australians are being outpriced in Sydney and choosing to move to other cities. Melbourne, being the most similar city to Sydney, became a popular choice. So what will happen to Melbourne's property in 2023 and beyond? It is no secret that Melbourne housing market has faced its fair share of challenges over the past couple of years. The Melbourne housing market has encountered various challenges in recent years, including the economic impact of the recent pandemic, extended lockdown periods, consecutive interest rate rises, low consumer confidence, negative media coverage, and tightening lending restrictions. After experiencing significant growth of 17.3% in 2020 and 2021, Melbourne housing values declined by 9.1% from their peak in February 2022. However, there is now a clear indication that Melbourne housing market is rebounding, with major research houses reporting an uptick in house prices in recent months. CoreLogic's Daily Home Values Index suggests Melbourne house prices rose 0.7% in June 2023. PropTrack reports Melbourne home prices have risen by 0.2% in June, bringing them up by 0.8% from their low in January this year. This presents a potential window of opportunities for investors as the Melbourne market starts to recover. Now let's talk about location. Melbourne is very big. As I've shared, there are about 5 million people in the city. So where to invest in Melbourne? For investors, the safest location to invest in is always the CBD or near to famous schools, because there would be ample tenant as you can rent to office workers, and near schools you can rent to students. Australia is one of the highly sought after countries for education, with 7 of their universities ranked in the top 100. These are the top 10 universities with the most international students in Australia. In Melbourne, it would be RMIT and University of Melbourne. These are the top 10 universities in Australia. The top 2 that are in Melbourne are University of Melbourne and Monash University. There are a total of 608,942 international students. The top country is China. Singapore is ranked 19. We have 5,678 Singaporean students in 2023. Victoria has a robust job market of almost 3.5 million workers, the second biggest job market in Australia, with great opportunities for skilled employees in sectors such as healthcare, education, and professional services. The growth in job opportunity has been attracting migrant workforces consistently over decades. Infrastructure-wise, the city has invested massively in major projects to improve mobility and connect the community. These are the ongoing cities shaping infrastructure projects like Australian Wharf Dragging Works, Birarung Trail Floating Wetland, Boyd Village Development, Carlton Gardens Irrigation Upgrade, Shider Street Irrigation, City Road Master Plan, new bike lanes, and many more. A construction of 100 new trams are on the way to deliver a modern and efficient transport network to support the population growth for years to come. You can visit the website in my description box to see the full list of Melbourne's ongoing infrastructure upgrading. Now let's look at a map of Melbourne's CBD. The light grey highlighted area is the CBD area. The Docklands area, which is known for its stunning waterfront views, Collins Street, the financial district where there are lots of banks there. Locals do their grocery shoppings at Victoria Market to buy fresh produce. Melbourne Central would be the shopping area. There's a Chinatown area, and 2 top schools which are near the CBD are RMIT and University of Melbourne. So what are the costs when investing in Melbourne properties? Firstly, FIRB, all foreigners would need to pay a Foreign Investment Review Board fees. As of 1st July 2023, it is $14,100 for properties which cost $1 million or less. Next will be stamp duty. The stamp duty, like Singapore, it is tiered. This is the rate for the investment property. Let's say you buy a 600k unit. The stamp duty will be 600k minus 130 equals 470 times 6% equals 28,200 plus 2,870, which equals to 31,070. Thirdly would be foreign stamp duty, which is 8%. There is no tiering for foreign stamp duty. Fourth will be mortgage registration fees. For 2023 and 2024 will be 128.50 cents for paper transactions, and electronic transactions will be slightly cheaper at 118.90 cents. There will also be a land transfer fees of up to 3,600. You can use this calculator, which I have included in the link in the description box. Let's say you purchase a unit which is 600k, first time owners buying for investment, purchasing a new home, foreigner and electronic transaction. You would have to pay a stamp duty of a tiered rate of up to 6%, foreign stamp duty of 8%. This would be 79,070. FIRB and FIRB application fees of estimated 550, mortgage registration fees of 118.90 cents, and transfer fee of 1,005. There is also an estimated legal fees of 2,800, and if you are taking a loan, there will be other fees such as admin fees, mortgage and valuation fees, which would cost an estimated 1,500. Ongoing running cost will be body corp fees, which is like our Singapore's management fees, council fees and property management fees of market rate 7%. For exact amounts and more detailed costs involved, don't forget to consult a property lawyer. If you are wondering what Melbourne projects are currently available, we currently have these projects. You can click on the link below to find out more about them. It is not very detailed, so if you want even more details on the projects, you may drop me a text. If you enjoyed this insightful analysis and review, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Atas Property Singapore for more exciting content. Elevate your property journey with Atas Property Singapore.